It's time to hear it from Harlan. Utah Director of Athletics Mark Harlan takes you behind the scenes with the Utes, the Pac-12, and collegiate athletics. Now here's your host, Mike Lagesholt.
And welcome to the November edition of the Hear From Harlan podcast. Coming up, Mark looks back at how things have gone so far this fall for the Utes and looks ahead to the winter sports season. Senior guard David Jenkins Jr. from men's basketball drops by with Mark for his one-on-one segment, and we'll get Mark's thoughts on how NIL is playing out. Also, some preview of upcoming projects coming up on campus as we head towards the first of the year. Well, Mark, it's been a bit. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Mike. It's always good to see you and also have a chance to get everyone caught up on everything that's going on. It's been quite an exciting time and a lot of things to discuss.
Always a fun time of the year in November as we sort of wrap up the fall sports and get the winter sports going. And let's talk some football to start things off. Mark, a big game coming up on Saturday. ABC's in town for Utah, Oregon. Perhaps a preview of the Pac-12 title game we'll see in a few weeks, but what a great run for football. Win at Arizona Saturday, before then 2 lopsided wins over UCLA at home, at Stanford, and Utah now 6-1. They control their destiny, Mark, in the Pac-12 South.
Yeah, it's been an incredible journey for our football program, Coach Whittingham, his staff, and certainly the student athletes. You know, it's been a season that we've learned that the games are obviously important, but there's bigger things. And so I've just been so impressed by the leadership of that team to navigate incredible tragedy, while at the same time staying very focused in the classroom and doing the things that they need to do, and then coming together, you know, as a team. The tragedies of Ty and Aaron will forever be a part of this team. I think there's been a real blessing that this team was together during the tragedy with Aaron. We didn't have that opportunity when we lost Ty last December. So the team being together and mourning together and moving forward together. And I think that, as Whit has said, and I think we all agree, we'll never get over it, but we're going to move ahead together. So excited that the smiles are there and the outcomes have been terrific. And certainly they've put us in a situation to have this whole community very excited about this weekend's game.
The number 22, the first ever retired in Utah football history at the UCLA game back in October. I thought that was a great gesture by this department.
Yeah, it's just, it's obviously something Whit wanted to do, and I was totally on board, as well as President Randall and others. And it's just, it's a number that will forever be a part of our program. And it was great having the families there during the UCLA game. They were very honored and very happy to know that the young men in their lives will always be remembered here at the University of Utah.
Special note on Saturday's game, Mark, it's Military Appreciation Game. We will have some special uniforms. Under Armour likes to do these rollouts, and they plan, and they do them so well. And the uniforms were debuted on social back in August already. They had a photo shoot out in the West Desert, and they look spectacular. Can't wait to see them and the helmets in person on Saturday. It should be a good look for this Utah team.
Yeah, incredibly innovative.
Yes.
What a tribute to the USS Salt Lake, which I've learned a lot about in this process. You know, an incredible battleship. Saw more combat, I understand, than almost any Navy ship, if the most combat. Took its hits, took its lumps, but kept firing back, and incredible story. And Cody and our equipment staff, along with others, just came together with Under Armour. Takes about 2 years to put all that stuff together, and learning about the ship and everything it stood for. So honored to be able to do that this weekend in such a big stage. It's a great story, and I know our students are really, really excited about playing in those uniforms.
Some special stuff before the game Saturday in honor of the USS Salt Lake City. So fans, get to your seats early. I mean, you got all day to tailgate, so get in there by 5:30, be there for lineups and so forth, and should be just a great night for Utah football as we honor the USS Salt Lake City coming up on Saturday. Well, Mark, women's cross country, how about their fall? Ranked 7th in the country, who hosted Pac-12 championships on the west side of town at the Regional Athletic Complex back in late October. Utah Pac-12 run-ups, the first time they've done that in school history.
Yeah, just an unbelievable fall by Coach Kep and all the student athletes. Incredible success, battling some different things throughout the way, and having a great run at the Pac-12s. And, we are the elite conference in this space, certainly then greater than that, the region. And so to go to Provo last week, finish in the top 5, which gives them right on the way to the natty here, as we like to say. Yep. And so that'll be in Tallahassee this weekend, like you say. And just really, really excited for that team. And what a great way to really kind of launch us, into this next winter session with the team that's already in the NCAAs.
All right. Also, women's soccer first year for Hideki Nakata. I thought some good things under him this first year.
Yeah, I mean, just what a challenge, right? I mean, the team played in the spring, and then we hire Hideki. He builds his staff. He gets to know the team, and before you can even breathe, there's a game, right, in August. And just had some great victories this year. Some really hard-fought draws in the Pac-12. Hideki's really excited. Got a chance to talk with him this morning. Recruiting is going really, really well for the program. So they get a chance to take a little break, though. It's been a long run for those student athletes to have a spring-fall season, and look forward to seeing what they've got next fall.
And things just keep on moving forward for Beth Lanier and that crew. Women's volleyball ranked 17th this week. They won the last 2 road matches by beating Arizona and ASU last weekend, and 4 straight home matches marked to wrap up against Cal, Stanford, Washington State, and Colorado. Then hopefully a chance for NCAAs to come back to Salt Lake in early December.
Our road warriors.
Yes.
They just in the preseason and also the way the league schedule rolled out, just amazing. But they do get to finish with 4 straight at home, which is great. They are on the edge, as you say, of hosting. They're right there in the top half of the standings. We got Cal and Stanford coming in, and just important matches to try to host. I really think that we can do that. We got a great shot, and the way Beth has been, as we saw last time, they can win wherever they go. But it'd be great to have our home crowd involved in the NCAAs. But again, another sweep on the road against Arizona State, like you said, and they are peaking at the great time.
Yeah, top 16 get the host. So Utah ranked 17th, kind of right there on the edge of maybe hosting. That would be tremendous that first weekend of December. Well, Mark, already basketball season upon us. Lynn Roberts and her crew, 2-0. They defeated Lipscomb and Xavier, scoring 100 points in both games over the weekend. They're shooting threes like crazy. They host, as we tape this on Tuesday, Cincinnati comes in Friday. St. Mary's comes into the Huntsman tonight.
Yeah, they're just hosting threes like crazy. It's just fun. They're running up and down, and really exciting team to watch. And I know Lynn is really excited about the work they all put in the preseason, and fun to see these early results. And they've got a few games this week, like you mentioned. So encourage everyone to come out and watch. David
Jenkins from Men's Hoops will come along in just a few moments, but Craig Smith, first-year head coach, already some nice wins over Abilene Christian, a 20-something win team from last year. Also, Sac State went down over the weekend. Bethune-Cookman was defeated 86-55 last night. And some good things from Craig Smith's crew already through 3 games.
Yeah, just really, really excited about this start. And I say that because this team had to come together. We had some transfers, well documented. Some unbelievable students came into the program. You know, we'll get a chance to meet David Jenkins and introduce him to everybody here in a moment. But just great chemistry already. They cheer for one another, and they're obviously running. Craig said they were going to run, and we've seen that. But now it's the next step in this journey, right? For any new coach and his teams is to go on the road, and they'll get a chance to head down to their tournament, play a team from the ACC, and we'll see who they play in that second game. But be fun to watch this weekend. I know there's a lot of other stuff going on this weekend, but be fun to say that. And then before we know it, we'll have more home games, and everyone come out and see him play.
Craig, in his first year, you know, when you hired him from Utah State, you know, fans still getting to know him, what were some qualities that stood out that led you to decide, hey, he's our guy? And now what have you seen transpire the last, couple weeks already?
Well, obviously his success and where he's been in so many tournament appearances. But I think what really stuck to me is his ability to articulate how he builds a team and how he mentors young men and creates an atmosphere that everybody wants to play and everyone wants to cheer for one another before themselves. And I think we've seen that, in this process. We know that there's going to be ups and downs ahead, like any season, right? And we know that we've got some great competition ahead. But what's really clear, and certainly been fun to listen to some fans at the arena, is his enthusiasm on the bench, right? I mean, no one's going to be more excited in the arena on a good defensive stop. And I encourage anyone to look at our sideline if they don't believe me. So I appreciate his energy and certainly appreciate his passion.
Well, we extended the invitation to our next guest on Monday. That night, he went off for 25 points, made 6 threes. So, Mark, I think you inspired David Jenkins to have a great night against Bethune-Cookman. We'll talk to him next. David Jenkins joins Mark next on the Hear It From Harlan podcast.
Time now for Utah's head man to catch up with one of Utah's star student athletes. Once again, here's Utah Athletics Director Mark Harlan on the Hear It From Harlan podcast.
Well, one of the greatest parts of our podcast always, although I do enjoy time with Lags, but the best part is when we have a student athlete come in, and we're blessed to have David Jenkins Jr. here with us today, who, showed up as a part of this rebuild of our basketball program. And those of you that have already watched these last 3 games have seen David on the court. But I've been getting a lot of questions about the journey that David has taken to get here, and I thought I'd invite him over. So welcome, David.
Yeah, man, I really appreciate the invite here. I'm obviously grateful to be a part of this program and this rich culture here at the University of Utah.
Well, we're really honored to have you here. So let's talk about that. You're here at the University of Utah, but you've had quite a journey, and I think it'd be fun for our listeners to understand how you got here.
Man, it's been a long journey. As you mentioned, I originally started out at South Dakota State University, and I played 2 years there. Honestly, had a great time. It was a great school and a great basketball program. But then I ended up transferring to UNLV because the head coach at South Dakota State took the head coaching job at UNLV. He was a guy I really trusted. I took that school over, a couple of high majors over Gonzaga and Oregon. And then, I played a year there, or I sat out a year, and then I played a year there. And then he ended up taking the head coaching job at Iowa State. And I also think I wanted to change for myself as well. I think that change is good sometimes, especially, I really go by this quote by saying, when you make yourself uncomfortable is when you really reach new heights. They say the enemy of the enemy of success is the comfort zone. So I really wanted to get a change. I really wanted to go with a different coach. And so happened that Coach Slocum from UNLV took the job here at Utah as well as an assistant. I've known Coach Craig since he was the head coach. He was the head coach at South Dakota when I was at South Dakota State. So we were rivals then. We would always go and shake hands, and I would always go back in the line and shake his hand again because I just always had respect for how he was as a coach and how he was as a person overall. Same deal when he was at Utah State and I was at UNLV. I got to see him again, always go back and shake his hand again because I just always have respect for him. And it's just funny how it all came full circle. And now I'm here at University of Utah with Coach Craig Smith and Coach Slocum.
Well, I remember you told me when we first met, you came by the office and we were chatting, and you told me that story about shaking hands in the line after game. And that really stuck with me. It's just amazing what those kind of interactions can do for somebody. And also, I think your story articulates that this really is a people type situation, right? You've been at incredible institutions, but you really talked about the people that made impacts on you. And of course, we loved Slokes when he was here, and I was excited for him to go to UNLV because he had some family. His mom was there and needed to be closer to her, but when he came back, so I'm not surprised that you and Slokes got along so well. But let's dig in a little bit there because at UNLV, you were thriving.
Yeah.
I mean, right? You got your degree, by the way. Don't want to ever not mention that in communications. But you were close to 20 points, if not more, in a good Mountain West conference. So, you talked about Slokes and all that, but that gets back to that comfort thing, right? I mean, you probably could have gone into this year at UNLV and done the thing, but now you've come here and you really had to do a lot of trust. So how's it gone for you so far now at Utah?
I mean, it's gone good. Again, it's kind of like taking a gamble on yourself, and it's almost like a leap of faith. And the thing about coming to this school is why I made this decision is because there's like somewhat of a comfortability part, but it's not like where I knew exactly what's going on. I didn't know anything about it. I know Craig, but I didn't know how, how I was gonna be with him. So it was kind of a leap of faith overall. And honestly, I think it's been really good for me. And not even just because of the basketball, just because of the environment itself, the fans. I really like how positive the fans are. I can tell the fans are, they're the type of people who, no matter, they're with us through thick and thin. It kind of reminds me of my first school at South Dakota State. They would always just be there for us no matter what. And what people fail to realize sometimes is fans carry us, man. They carry us when we're low and they carry us when we're high. When I'm in that game and I see all the fans out there supporting us and cheering us on, it just gets my energy going even more in all of us. But I honestly, I say this out of love. I really love the school. I genuinely love it. I wish I could have spent all my years here. I love everything about it, the environment again. I love the basketball part. I love the academic part. I love how everybody supports us and it's a genuine family feel, not just everybody says family. It really feels like that to me.
Well, that's great. And I know that Craig and I have spent a lot of time when we were in the hiring process about his culture and what he tries to do. And, the on-court thing will happen when the off-court relationships are going strong. So let's talk a little bit about that. You guys all came together. I mean, this is a very unique situation. I mean, we had some incredible folks that obviously, and students that were on the team and obviously carried in, Carlson and others come to mind. But you and a bunch of others showed up. So talk a little bit about how you guys come together, because I'll preface this by saying what has been noted by some folks last night in the third straight home game that we've had is the referee had to tell you guys to sit down a couple times, right? This is an early season game and you guys are on your feet cheering for others. Talk about how you guys have come together so quickly.
Yeah, man, it's funny. I was just talking to Marco about this the other day. I've never been a part of a team where we've came together so quickly. I remember, again, when we first got here, everybody's new to each other. It's a brand new team, brand new coaches, everything. I want to say maybe a week and a half into it, I feel like I've known these guys for at least a couple years. And I think that is a thing because we don't have nobody on the team with egos. We have a bunch of guys who just want to be here and who want to win at a high level and who genuinely care about the next person. When I'm on the court, whether that's practice or a game, we're so close to each other off the court, and that translates to on the court what people fail to realize. And, I just feel like with this team, when you're genuinely happy for the next person, when someone else make a shot, it's easy to get hyped for yourself when you make a shot. But when you're happy to see your next teammate make a shot or, take a charge or get a stop on the defensive end, I feel like that speaks volumes. And when you want to, it gets to a point to where you want to run through a wall for the next person next to you and run through a brick wall. I mean, I just think that really translates to the games, and I really think it translates to late in the season as well. So I just think we have really guys with high character and charisma, and we have really good team chemistry and camaraderie, and I just really think that that's going to carry us on and off the court overall.
Yeah, well, that's great. And you really, I expected to see that. I don't know if I thought it would just look that genuine so fast, and it looks genuine because it is genuine, which
100%.
is great. So. A little bit, you guys went through those 3 home games, right? I mean, it just went like a blur. I think we were a week away as you and I taped this. A week ago we had opening night. We played 3 games. You guys are off now to Daytona to play back-to-back games. Boston College is ahead next. So your first road trip, right? The next part of developing the team and spending some time together. But as you look ahead, how are you feeling after these 3 games as a team? And then a little bit about how you're playing. What do you think's ahead for this program?
Well, first off, I'm feeling good just because I think that we do the things that are necessary each and every day as far as preparation goes. We're overly prepared. We always say that. I think our coaches do a tremendous job of, making sure we know everything in the depth as far as scouting reports go, defense, offense, whatever the team runs. And I just think we're prepared. And I'm happy with the way we're playing. Obviously, we're not playing quote unquote the best of teams right now, but I think we're going to be prepared no matter what. No matter who we're playing, we're always going to be prepared. And I think, I'm pretty happy with the way I'm playing, but more than anything, I just think my teammates do a good job of, trying to find me. And I think we do a good job of trying to find each other. I think we're an unselfish team. We make the extra pass. And again, as I mentioned before, we just have guys with no egos. We don't have nobody who's worried about their own individual statistics. We have guys who want to win and get to the NCAA tournament. And not only get there, we want to make a run. And I think that's a thing that's been established here is Craig. That's one thing he's always done. He's always gets to the NCAA tournament, and he always wins games. So I'm excited to go into this away game. I think it's going to be another test for us, but I think we're going to be prepared, man. Just because we have the daily habits each and every day, we don't go into practice lazy. We don't go in and we don't never play down to our competition. We always make sure we treat every single team as if they're the quote unquote best team. So I think we're going to be really good going into this tournament.
Yeah, it'll be exciting to match up against an ACC team, and then the schedule. I always wondered, obviously you play college basketball, which one can assume you love college basketball, but every night now there's games on TV, and you've had a chance to probably glance at some Pac-12 teams.
Yeah.
We certainly, a lot of us got a chance to see the UCLA game the other night versus Villanova. Just your impressions as if you looked around the league and seen some other college basketball teams play this year.
Yeah, I watch college basketball almost every night when I can, especially if we don't play. As far as the Pac-12 goes, man, I've watched multiple teams from UCLA to Arizona State to Oregon State. I watched them all. I just think there's no way that we can't compete in this league at a high level. I'm so excited I'm so excited when we get to the league and how we're going to play, and we're going to shock people, man. Because again, when you do certain things such as daily habits every single day, when you practice those every day and you don't have an off day, I just think that translates. And I think, obviously we seen that we were picked, I think 10th or 9th or whatever it was as a preseason. That was motivation for us. And obviously motivation is in the games and practice, and that's something we're going to use when we go into league. So we're obviously excited as a team to go into the Pac, and I just think there's no way that we can't compete at a high level.
Yeah, it's exciting. I mean, the Pac-12 had such a great year last year. I think we set a record for his most tournament games won. Oregon State was picked 12th last year, Dave. They won the tournament, to your point, and made all the way to the Elite Eight, I believe it was. So it's an exciting time, but I appreciate your leadership. Those of you know, and I've said this before in this podcast, the greatest joy of my job is to see the student athletes when they're doing their thing, going to school, walking around. But David has shown incredible leadership, big part of this culture. But before I let you go, okay, so now you're in Salt Lake for a while. You got a favorite place you and your teammates like to go? It's not a name, image, and likeness deal. Just whatever place. What's your place that you go?
Yeah, actually, we go to this place. We go to two places pretty often. When we have an off day or just a day where we seem like we have a little bit of time, we go downtown to this place called Rich's. It's a nice burger spot. They got all type of different exotic burgers and all that good stuff. We like to go there as a team, just sit outside downtown and kind of on the street. And then another place we really love to go to is the Park Cafe.
I think I'm looking over at Lags right now. I think we're 1,000 with Park Cafe. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's a gymnast, football player, basketball player.
I mean, you just can't miss with the Park Cafe, man. And
very small portions at the Park Cafe.
Yeah. And the thing is they have just good workers there. The owners are tremendous people.
Yeah, great people.
And it's funny because I feel like, so I order my food and I sit down, I look at my phone, I put it down, and the food is like right there within minutes. It's honestly crazy every time. And they have good customer service, and I love going there. So that's a really good spot as well.
Well, I appreciate you spending some time with us today, and it's going to be fun to watch your journey this year. And I will say too, since you completed your degree, obviously, at UNLV, you're in a certificate program now, taking some great classes, doing all the right stuff. So really just appreciate your leadership. And I know I can speak for everybody listening. We look forward to watching you play this year.
Yeah, man. Obviously, it's been a good year so far. We're looking forward to games, and we're looking forward to the opportunities that await us. But I just thank you for inviting me, and go Utes.
Thanks, David. Appreciate you.
And welcome back to the Hear From Harlan podcast. As Mark always points out when he looks at me, the best part of the show is when I'm not part of it. But Mark, I get it. I agree with you. Never take offense to it. And that was one of the better interviews we've had with student athletes. David Jenkins Jr., transferred from UNLV. You know, I picked up on the theme with him is just understanding being uncomfortable is a good thing. And he understands the process, understands how teams are put together, and just some great thoughts from him. I really enjoyed your interview with David Jenkins Jr.
Yeah, I was really excited to have him come here. And look, he still showed up despite scoring all those points last night. You never know, right? But I wanted everyone to listen to his passion. I had a chance to meet him early on when he got here. And it's actually a really funny story. The athletic director at UNLV is a really, really good friend, Desiree. She's now actually the athletic director at Missouri. But when David got here, she called. She said, "Hey, listen, he's one of the best. He'll come by," and he got to know my kids in terms of what I was hearing. And sure enough, David is just a great ball of energy, and his journey is really terrific. And I'm really glad that he's here. But I think he kind of exemplifies what we see on this team, and I'm glad that everyone got a chance to meet him.
His comment, "This team felt like we were together for a long time within about a week and a half." That to me speaks volumes about one, Craig Smith, and two, the players he's brought on board, and three, the guys who are here who've really latched on to what he wants to do.
Yeah, well said. I think that's exactly right. They're the kind of people that Craig is recruiting in this program are going to look a lot like David Jenkins and who care about teammates and care about, just getting everything you can out of college basketball and being at a university. So really glad he's here.
Mark, you kind of gave David a hard time about NIL and restaurants and recommendations, and that leads me to my next topic. It's a whole new world, Mark, with athletes able to endorse and on social get behind whatever, and it's a whole new deal. This name, image, and likeness. As you've seen this kind of play out now for a few months, your initial impressions on NIL and how it's playing out here at the University of Utah.
Yeah, I'm actually really excited about where we're at with NIL. And we went into this whole process just navigating, what was going to truly be available for our students. And as we prep for it, working with the great folks at Lassonde in the Echo School of Business and working on branding and education and all of those things. At the same time, really organizing the department and getting NIL coordinators for each team, working with our senior administration. And so where we sit now is we're about $500,000 in different avenues of NIL earnings, some in cash, some in trade. And we're just getting started. What's been great too is we've seen those students that really take the time and want to get involved, really have an opportunity to do great things. We're seeing across the platform too of our of our sports, both in men and women. I think for us, the next phase of this is to continue to work with our alums and work with our corporate partners to make sure they know exactly how to work with our student athletes and those that are really interested in doing that. So we've made some adjustments in the last few weeks to really do that, because we've spent so much time with our students and on campus. Now this next phase, just like in any revenue opportunity, is to make sure that folks that want to step in and work with our wonderful student athletes have an easy road to do so. So I anticipate this number getting a lot higher.
Yeah.
And then our coaches, as they already are, telling the story about the opportunities here. But pleased with where we're at, but look forward to the growth ahead.
I talked to Tom Farn about this when we first announced the program, and he said, to be in Salt Lake City and have NIL now at our disposal. I mean, we're in the large market, but there's not a lot of pro sports here. There's an opportunity for our athletes really to take advantage of the proximity of our campus in a metro area.
Well, that's so true. And the fact that we have incredible student athletes,
right,
that do the right thing and are great and whatever. It's fun to watch the deals as they come through. Some have agents. We've certainly seen that. They work with those agents. Some just are contacted through various different ways. And that's one of the things that we're doing now. We're creating a directory so that people can kind of understand more about what the interests of our students as they decide what they're interested in. And we're also seeing some team deals come through for those that want to opt in. But it's everything. It's from some of the more high-end things that people may see some of our students doing podcasts and things of that nature. Some are going to be start to sell more product, and some just doing lessons, right?
Yeah.
It kind of runs the gamut. And some students really aren't, it's not their thing, right? Because they're very busy and doing everything they do, and we want to respect that as well. But it's been fun to see all the different roads, but it's continuing to evolve, and the opportunities will be there.
All right, Mark, one of the other questions we always get from fans is what's going on with facilities? We had the large South End Zone project, the Ken Garff Red Zone, opened up in late August. What's next on your plate in terms of facilities and just major projects here on campus?
Well, first, let me mention that the Ken Garff Red Zone has been everything we hoped it would be. The reviews have been good. I think I said on the earlier podcast that we were going to learn and grow as we go through, and certainly we've had 4 games with 2 to go, and things are going really well in there, and it's been packed, which has been exactly what we all dreamed of. So very excited about that. We're always looking at what's next, and the one thing that I do believe is right up next for us is a renovation of the Dumpke Gymnastics facility. It's a great facility, but it needed some things to be done, and Tom and our development staff and all of that have done a great job. We certainly have gotten some incredible gifts from incredible people. So I anticipate breaking ground on that this spring and having it ready for the students for the following season. So that's next up. We're continuing to try to figure out the next step for baseball. We've got different opportunities on that. We certainly still have our great relationship with the Bees. That hasn't changed in some of the ownership transition. But we really want to continue to see, is there a path for us to be on campus? And we've been spending a lot of time on that, Mike, trying to figure that out. And then we also have kind of a one eye always looking at Huntsman.
Yeah.
What's the next phase in there? We saw what could happen when we could do some premium seating. We saw that what happened in the stadium. So we're going to continue to work with folks on that. And then there's other things. There's locker rooms that we're looking at and all of that. But I say with facilities, it's an everyday thing. It's not an every now and then thing. It's an everyday thing. And we're blessed to have a great staff and, of course, incredible development staff that work with donors to make it happen for us.
All right, Mark, a busy time on campus. We'll let you go. That will do it for the November edition of the Hear from Harlan podcast. Thanks to our guest, David Jenkins Jr. Thanks to Mike Gilliland as well on the technical side. That will do it for us. For Mark Harlan, I'm Mike Lagerschultz. Until next time, so long, everybody.
This has been the Hear It From Harlan podcast. Subscribe and listen all year long as we keep you up to date on Utah athletics.